is over rehearsing a thing?
Can we define rehearsing just to make sure we're talking about the same thing?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Just to be specific.
What do you mean when you say rehearsing?
What I understand is it's when you practice specifically for a performance.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's not just normal practice. It's like I have a performance that I'm going to do, and I'm going to practice actually like
What's a normal practice?
which song.
Just playing around.
I mean, it can be more structured, but like learning how to play your instrument better.
I guess I mean either.
Okay.
But it is something that I noticed when I was rehearsing for a gig because I was playing a lot more.
So are you focusing more though on the practicing for a gig in this case?
Yes, let's go with that. Yes.
Okay.
Just thought about why I asked this, and then so over rehearsing I think is a phenomenon where you learn less, at least per hour spent rehearsing, if you keep doing it more and more and more.
Oh, like there's diminishing returns.
I guess.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sort of trying to figure out when that's happening, and I noticed that when I was rehearsing for a gig, I kept playing the songs. I kept playing the set, in the entire set, once a day. That was what I did.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, I stopped. Maybe I lost the feeling of why this was so good. But then sometimes I skipped a day or two, or I went on a trip or something without my guitar. And when I come back, and I haven't played in a while, and I play it for the first time since coming back, I'm like, whoa, this sounds better than I remember it. And then I start to pay more attention to maybe details, maybe some things that I was doing without thinking. I start to notice them and see if I want to keep them and do them consciously or just do them differently. And I feel more stuff happens when I haven't played in a few days, even though I was playing the songs once a day, which is not much, because as I understand it, yeah, classical musicians practice for hours and hours a day. But I also feel like I still benefit from taking a break.
I guess in my mind, I'm trying to determine if you're saying take a break from rehearsing for the gig or take a break from playing your guitar or singing.
I guess the reason I wanted to explore this was because I had a show coming up and I'm like, is once a day enough? Should I do more? Should I skip a day a week to get that sense of it back? I don't want it to sound too mechanical, but I don't want to leave room for error.
I think I get your quandary.
Yes, tell me about my quandary.
Let me explain my thoughts on this. I mean, admittedly, it's been a while since I've had like a real performance. So this is from long time ago memories. But to me, and I'm dividing rehearsing for a gig from practicing specific songs or specific parts of songs. So I spent little time actually rehearsing for the gig. And what I mean by that is, like, you have your whole set list. I think I wouldn't go through the whole set list and like play everything and like, practice like how I'm going to talk to the audience or how I'm going to put a break between these two songs and say a few things or whatever. Like, those are the things I would not really practice much. But what I would practice, I would focus on specific things that I was trying to perfect within the songs or within the music. So I wouldn't practice the rehearsal. I would say, okay, I'm having trouble with this specific part of a song. I'm going to play that a lot, just over and over again. This one line, or these two lines, or this transition. And that's how I approached it. I think some of it is context. Like, are you in a band? Are you solo? Like if it's a band, maybe you need that more actual rehearsal.
Right.
Then, and then by yourself, you do your individual practice.
Well, I don't practice talking to the crowd or things like that.
I don't know. You had some funny lines that
When?
I just remember one, like, where you were like, okay, that was a sad song. Something like, oh, that was a sad song.
I remember.
Now I'm going to play.
I forgot you were there. The time I said, I'm going to play two songs, one is sad, the other one's sadder. And then I played a really sad song without specifying which one it was. And then I was like, now the sadder song.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I remember. But no, I don't think about... I did that the first time I had a gig. I thought about,
sure.
I need to say something before every song that's relevant to the song or something. And now I just, I don't know. I try to see how the crowd's mood is and if they feel receptive. What if everyone's just in their conversation? I don't tend to.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. But I'm talking about the music. So going back to that, do you only do that? Do you only practice parts that you have problem with?
No, but that would be where the vast majority of the practice is, I think.
Okay. Are you talking about the time when you were in a band or the time when you were playing piano?
By either one.
Okay.
To me, it's like if I can play something perfectly, I don't want to waste the time, keep playing it over and over again. Obviously, I'm going to make sure that I can remember it and play it sometimes, play the whole thing through, of course. But I'm going to spend most of the time on the difficult parts.
And you do those over and over again?
Yeah. How else am I going to...
Like,
how else am I going to make it easy?
If I'm struggling getting a part to sound right, if I'm making a mistake repetitively at the same spot, I will do that. If it was like, if I had it down perfectly or as near as perfectly as I could, and I saw that it's not really, I don't need to waste time on this, I did skip some songs. But generally, at least sometimes, I would just play throughout the whole thing from start to finish. I would, especially as it got closer to the gig date, I would pretend, like in my mind, I'd be like, even if I make a mistake, I have this always now, not just close to the gig. If I make a mistake or something, I can't just stop and start over. I need to recover from it somehow. And I think that this last thing has helped me a lot, because when I started gigging, I would make mistakes where I would just like stop dead in my tracks and just like I try to laugh it off and then start over or start from but I don't do that anymore. Like sometimes like if I play the wrong chord or something, I quickly recover from it and I can not let it stumble the rest of the performance. If I sing the wrong words or something as well, like whatever. And that's something that I think was time well spent, to just say, I'm going to play the song from start to finish. Even like if I make a mistake, I'm going to try to see what I can do with it.
Yeah, I think that's a really important skill to learn how to deal with a mistake on the fly. And I think I got pretty good at that as a drummer because you have to, like, you cannot just stop. you
Right.
have to you
Yeah.
have to just keep going, and you have to, if you make a mistake, you got to just have that beat in your head
Right.
and just get back on it, because like you're the backbone of the whole rhythm section.
Does that make does that make it at least easier in one way because you kind of don't have to follow someone else? Everyone else is following you.
I mean, it makes it easier, but it also makes it
The pressure is
at the
higher.
same time a bit, yeah, a bit more stressful, because if you screw up, everybody knows it. Everybody knows you screwed up. Like the bass player hits a wrong note.
Sure.
Eh.
Yeah.
The drummer like skips a beat. Like everybody's like, what's that? What's wrong?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the drums are loud. It's just practically, it's more clear that if you make a mistake on the drums, it's just usually you can hear that more easily. So a lot of it is just not freaking out, you know.
So if you had to help me come up with a rehearsal plan, let's say I have a gig in a month
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to play 10 songs. Let's say 6 of them I've already rehearsed quite well from the previous gig, and 4 songs that I kind of know how to play but haven't played in a while.
Mm-hmm.
How would you allocate? Like you're the manager. You can. I want to get the most out of time, keeping diminishing returns in mind.
Well, I would say I would first want you to play through the whole set, and I guess I would take notes on which songs were, which songs needed minimal practice, which songs were, okay, maybe a little practice, but we're almost there, and then which songs needed a lot of work. And then within that, I would probably also pick out, maybe there were some specific parts of those songs that you really needed to drill.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the exact proportion of, percentage of time you'd spend on whatever,
Roughly.
but like you'd play the songs that you'd play like, maybe a few times a week just to like keep them in your head.
Yeah.
It depends on how much time you have, of course.
Yeah.
Maybe then the songs that like you do, pretty well, but there's a few things that you could improve. Those, yeah, you play more often, like at least once a day, at least. I mean, that seems like, yeah, at least I would want to do a lot more than that, I guess. And then, the songs that you are struggling with, I would focus mostly on those, and focus maybe, I don't know, at least twice as much as you focus on the ones that you're relatively good with. There's probably specific parts within those songs that you aren't comfortable with, and I'd just say like drill those over and over again. It depends on the exact thing that you're working on, but maybe play it at slower tempos so it's easier to learn, then speed it up. And I used to do this thing where when I'm learning it, I play it at like a really slow tempo, and then I'd like play it too fast to like see if I could just get through it.
Yeah.
And, kind of go get the feel down, I guess, and not worry about the details, and then like slow it down again to maybe what speed I want to play it at, kind of bring it all together. I think you're kind of wasting time if you just play the whole thing through. I think you should only leave that until like the last week or couple of weeks,
Okay. Okay.
or maybe depending on how much time like you spend a couple of weeks doing this, and then you reassess. You play, halfway to the gig, you play through and reassess that, and then say, okay, I still need to work on this part and this song and focus on that.
But I find this helpful, and I am going to adjust the way I rehearse a bit based on this. But the thing that I would not want to lose is like that feeling of, I don't know what to call it, but it's cliche to say magic, but if I'm losing that sense of magic that I have when I come back to a song after not having played it for a while, then I'm afraid that I'm going to not channel it on the day as well. Although, now that I think about it, it's hard not to be 100% present when you're actually doing it, unless you're like Mick Jagger and touring into...
You're doing it like every single day for months. Yeah.
So, given that I gig occasionally, I'm very, very there, and maybe what I'm concerned about is not as big of a deal as I think it is.
Yeah, I think I would agree that, at least from my perspective, I don't think there's anything wrong with playing more and more and being able to play the songs perfectly every single time. I don't think that's diminishes the magic. I think the magic will come in the performance. And I guess if you ever feel like it's not, then like, focus on not rehearsing, but focus on getting better at the guitar or getting better at singing, like without singing the whole song, like just doing drills that are related to the song or specific parts.
Like if my gig is generally me and the guitar, do you think there's value in rehearsing only the guitar or only the singing? Or should it always be done in conjunction?
I would separate it. I would definitely separate it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Okay, let me slightly rephrase. Maybe I wouldn't separate out the singing, but I think I would the guitar at least. But I think it would depend on the personal situation there.
Right.
Possibly also what you're trying to play.
Like if the song is just some chords.
Yeah,
then there's no need to. Okay.
Yeah, but if you're doing some more complicated guitar stuff, you gotta separate it.
Okay.
And I mean, if I can be not critical, but constructive.
No, go ahead.
I think you could benefit from some specific guitar work.
Yeah, I agree.
You've gotten a lot better singing in the past few years. And the guitar's gotten better too, but I think the singing's gotten significantly better than the guitar has improved.
Maybe because I was already...
The singing has improved much better than the guitar has improved.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe because the singing was used to be quite bad. And the guitar was okay. And now they're both okay-ish.
I think for your kind of... The songs that you're singing, the way you sing them is really pretty good.
Okay.
Whereas before I was like, oh, he's flat, like he's not like
Yeah.
he's always a bit off, like you, you know. But now it's really gotten better. You're also projecting a lot better. You're a lot louder,
Yeah.
and that's just some experience. I think that you've gotten more comfortable with
Yeah.
doing that.
Did I have two gigs after you were here or one?
When I was there, or
No, like when you were here, I didn't have a gig. We just played at some open mics.
right.
But I know I had one gig end of last year. I just don't remember if it was before or after you were here. I think it was November.
I think it was after.
Okay. So I don't want to toot my own horn because like I think I'm a little bit better now than when you were here. Like the last two gigs at least were, especially the last one was quite well received. Like at least I felt the clear difference in the audience wanting more, and then even not just at the gig they asked for another song, and then after it was over they asked for another one, which was very new to me.
Nice.
And like afterwards as well, like whenever I see certain people who were there, they ask me when the next one is, and like some people do that once to be nice, but
Yeah.
some people have been asking me, and some people who I met there have messaged me asking when the next one is and things like that. So it's not like it was 1,000 people in the bar,
No,
but
whatever.
it was still like
You don't need that.
very, very nice change.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's cool.
I do wish you would see it someday. It's quite cool. Ideally, it would be on the stage too.
I mean, I think you have some magic, but if you just could bring up the guitar playing a little,
Yeah.
I think it would really you'd get to the next level.
I feel I got some usefulness out of this discussion and will be adjusting my rehearsal plan. At least trying some drilling out.
Can I ask one specific thing about how you practice?
Yeah.
Do you ever practice with a metronome?
I knew you were going to ask that. Okay, so I'll just a bit of background. Most of my life I have played by myself.
I know.
I didn't start by myself. I started playing in a band when I was 16. But after that, when I went solo, 18, and that's 20 years now. And most of these 20 years I've been playing by myself, except for now and then. And I have come to realize when I started playing more, which is the last 2 years, that I really, really lack experience in playing with other musicians. Because I go to the open mics and all the other musicians just go up and play together songs that they don't know. And to me, that's like, okay, it's less mystifying now, but it's still, they keep inviting me and I'm often, I accept hesitantly because I'm afraid that I will screw up their songs. I don't tend to rehearse with a metronome by myself, but sometimes when I'm rehearsing, whether it's with you or some other drummer or percussionist, and then I take that as my beat to try to keep in time with.
Well, obviously you should, yeah.
Right. You would think so, but
but not all the drummers are good at keeping time, especially not the ones that I heard.
Oh no, I had a good.
Okay.
But that's not the issue. I was playing with a quite an experienced drummer, but since I didn't have experience playing with others, my default playing mode was that he should be keeping up with me, and that was not good. So it took some time. And what's worse is that at one point we realized that I'm singing and I'm playing the guitar to my singing, and he's drumming to my playing the guitar. It was like complete backwards the time, and we worked some to fix that. So he played the percussion, I play the guitar, and then I sing to that as much as I could. It was like unlearning something that I had been doing for a decade. And still, like, it's still an issue for me.
Yeah, that's why
the metronome question.
The metronome. That would be the practice of you playing to another beat.
Or I could just put a beat.
Yeah, whatever. Something that's, keeping time.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Maybe I should get a loop pedal.
Why? You mean just for performing, or?
That would be the end goal, but I think during rehearsal I would also make a beat on it or some kind of a rhythm, and then I would have to follow myself.
Okay.
Just thinking about it more would...
You might want to also have a click track if you're going to start learning that.
Yeah.
At least, because if you screw up the timing on the loop thing, then it's like there forever.
No, this was discussed actually.
Yeah, and it's not always the beat, like it's also the subdivisions of the beat that you're sometimes a bit sloppy with.
Yeah.
Which is fine, that's usually okay if you're playing by yourself, but it can sound strange if, you're...
I would say I'm not talking about when I'm sloppy, but I would say sometimes it's good not to be mechanically 100% on the beat when I'm alone.
I totally agree. And even when you're playing with others.
Yeah, but as long as everyone...
If you can communicate,
Yeah.
We're going to slow down here and then we're going to get back into it. Oh, yeah, totally agree. But you need to know how to do it in time as well. And I get it's probably because I'm a drummer and that's, a focus of mine. And if I'm listening to a guitarist, even if they're just playing by themselves and they're like doing some rhythm guitar and it's out of time, like I just can't get into it. I can't like vibe with it.
Right. Okay. You know what else I noticed that I lack? I noticed that I don't know how much you play, because I know you play guitar.
Currently, or
no, like I know you know how to play guitar.
Badly, yeah.
I know you know how a guitar works. I don't know how else to say this, but I've never heard you sing with it, so I don't know if you've had the struggle of trying to sing while playing an instrument.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
You probably know it's something that a lot of musicians struggle with because they learn how to play the guitar, but once they want to sing with it, it's just hard to do.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, it's another skill, yeah.
Fast forward, I can do that, but recently I've realized that I have a limited set of rhythms I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And if I try to, like, hey, this song sounds cool, I want to try to do that rhythm, it's something that I've never done before.
Yeah.
I can't sing with it. I go back to that, like, not being able to sing and play like an amateur, and then I have to sort of start over. And I don't know if this is something when, like, if a professional guitarist hears some new rhythm, can they pick it up and replicate it and sing with it, or do they also have to kind of relearn how to sing and play. Does that make sense?
I mean, if they're professional, they should need very little time
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
learn the rhythm and then be able to sing with it. I think, like, to me, when I was doing it, I just had to make it so it was automatic, that like I wouldn't have to think about the guitar playing. It would just come, or the drumming. If I'm drumming and singing, like, it's got to be. I can't think of the drumming. I have to just. It's got to just come.
Yeah.
I have to be so comfortable with it that it's. I don't think. Yeah.
This is what I've been working on as well. Have you seen the 4 stages of, I think it was unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, unconscious competence.
Right.
Like, first you suck and you don't know why you suck, and then you suck but you know why you suck, and then you don't suck but you have to kind of like pay attention to it, and then you don't suck without paying attention to it.
Right.
That's the goal to work towards. Not even think about what you're playing, and it just...
Yeah.
Going back to making a mistake, when I started gigging more, or at least when I first started, it was mostly open mics, and I would be like super focused on what I'm playing. And I guess that's why when I made a mistake, something in my brain would be like, error, like didn't go as planned.
Mm-hmm.
And now, oh, that wasn't the chord. This is the chord. And then just...
Yeah. And generally, people don't notice unless it's like a really horrible thing.
Yeah. Not the last gig, but the one before that. One of my friends came up to me and afterwards said, I'm sure you made some mistake somewhere, but I couldn't sense anything, like feel anything. Just because it was long and kind of hard to do all of it without any mistake. And yeah, I had several.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It was nice to play with you. I hope we do that again.